We're good. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. I would like to start the meeting. Let's all rise. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Good evening, everyone. All right, we have a couple things tonight that will be important issues. I also want to have some time to discuss some of the updates in town. I will save that to the end till informal discussion, but if anyone has anything before then, that's great. Let's accept the agenda. Everyone reviewed this agenda. There's one addition I'd like to make to it. I have one more resolution I need to add to that, and that I need to add into 10A. So in 10A, if you guys can look at that, we're going to add
the Scranton Communications.
the Scranton Communication request for waiver for bid requirements for Scranton Communication. There's some reasons I'll explain when we get there, but I'd like to add that to it. It'll save the town money. We've used them for a long time, and I'll give a full
Yeah, but they've been
explanation
around
what
forever.
that is. So
Yeah, I'll make a motion and we accept the agenda as amended, adding a request for bid waiver for Scranton Communications as item 10A.
A second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Fantastic. Let's approve the minutes from the last meeting. I think we may even have a copy over there. Did anyone review the minutes? Any issues, any questions? I reviewed it. I didn't see any errors or
They were
omissions. on
well
that.
done as usual.
Accept the minutes
Right.
from May.
Any discussion?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Made it? Seconded it. It's gonna be the Tim and John show tonight. I see it already. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Communications and correspondence. I have a couple things. Couple things. Recently, the Manchester Revitalization Commission issued or gave a $25,000 grant to Quarry Ridge Golf Courses. Every year, the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce puts together and puts out a great deal of grants to businesses in the Middlesex County area that deserve it for various projects. Several towns have won that over the last couple of years, but this year it is going to the Quarry Ridge Golf Course. They received a letter a couple of days ago. Patty Vale and husband, they are very excited about that. They'll be using that for, I believe, nighttime golf activities was the focus of the grant. But they will be using it to enhance what they do and add to the quality of the golf courses, the golf course there, and improve Portland's standing as the golf capital of Connecticut unofficially. So
Officially.
They got the full grant, 25,000.
$25,000. It was a nice one.
Yeah.
There were grants, that was on the upper end. There were grants anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. But it's all based on need. It's based on the business. They do quite a vetting. The crew that does the vetting for this, very experienced in business. They know what to look for. So it's a difficult thing to get, but it goes to well-deserving businesses. So real proud of them for getting that. And it's only going to, again, make it a better course and a better town that we live in. So I think that's a good thing. So congratulations to Patty and company. That's great. Second thing, landfill update. I received a letter, an email from Alan Sebens and Robert Clee with regards to the landfill solar project. It is still on track for 2026 construction. There are several issues with DEEP. They're still waiting on response from them. They've been submitted all the paperwork they need in order to make it go forward, but DEEP has to do a couple more things. And also Eversource is required to energize that particular part of the street or the road. So they're all, I guess, converging on the 2026 date. So it's on track, but it's longer than it would have been 2 years ago when we first started talking about this. But once that is done, it should be, again, a great addition to the town and make us a little more energy efficient and save some money. So that is that. Next, also received an email earlier today with regards to the boat launch project, the Riverfront Access Project near Tilcon. The first purchase order for that project has been issued to a fencing company. I'm meeting with that gentleman from that fencing company, one of the foremen, this Friday at 11:30. We set the date. If any of the selectmen wish to be there with me, we'll be looking at where it's going to go. They've marked out the road or the path back there. So this will be the fence that will secure the line between us and Tilcon. as well as creating a fence so that no traffic can go back there, driving traffic or walking traffic. At least it'll mark it off as no trespass.
When's that?
That'll be this Friday at 11:30 for those that can make it. I'll keep everyone posted. He'll be running in from, I think, Enfield. He'll text me in the morning, but that's exciting because that'll be the first project we're spending money on that we could actually use the $300,000 grant money, which is exciting. So it is a state money that was granted to us to do this project. So very excited about that. Another email this morning from Mr. Dillon, the other Dillon. They've essentially finished the drawings and specs for the Highland Homestead Sidewalk Project, as well as the north part of Main Street from Belcourt to Indian Hill Drive. They are submitting that to DOT. Those plans are being submitted. They anticipate that they should be able to start within 4 to 5 weeks. There'll be a delay with DOT in terms of the paperwork submitted, but the plans needed to get done. Those are done. The second part of the project, the southern part of Main Street, that one will be submitted probably 6 weeks from now when this other project gets started to make the timing make sense. So that is happening, and that a resident should see something happening in that about 4 to 5 weeks. So I will keep everyone posted on that. That was good news. Only other thing that falls into this category, two things, is City of Middletown every month gives us an update on how much their call center handles for the town of Portland. They've been handling our service, our 911 and other services for a long time. For the month of May, they handled 566 calls for the town of Portland. Fire department, they handled 69, which is about average for what they do. So they provide the 911 service as well as emergencies.
Is that 500 average, high, low?
So it's funny you should ask that. The average for police is 499, so a little bit more over the last 2 weeks. The average for fire department is 64. So again, it's slightly above average. Good question though. But it's been a good relationship with them. I know we'll be asked to renew that contract coming up, I believe, next year. But that contract has paid for itself many times over in terms of efficiency and time. But when it does come up, we'll examine all the details just to make sure it still continues to do that. But that is good from them. And lastly, we are revisiting the airline trail. I received the updated plans from Jacobson with regards to how do we get past Dan Lally and how do we get past the DQ. We have updated plans that should get us there. I'm talking to Eversource right now in terms of getting the new person out there that initially denied this a year ago or so. They finally did after 3 years. So we have a good shot to get that going. I will let all the selectmen know when that is, but the plans are being updated and ready to present to Eversource is a big step forward. That may come to fruition as a meeting within the next 4 to 5 weeks. So I'm hoping that happens quickly. The person that was doing it before has gone out on maternity leave and will not be coming back. So it would have been sooner, but they're picking who's going to be that person. So again, that all came in within the last day or two, but it was important. So I wanted to put that right up front.
Does it still look like it's gonna make a jog and come out towards 66 for a bit and then?
I so knew that you were going to ask that. I have the plans right here. Too.
Thank you.
So pass that on.
I just read today too, this article that they have a plan now.
Yes,
of boardwalk walkway,
yes.
Yeah.
manage that stretch between Portland and East Hampton. They expect to be done by 2026.
Yes, yes. So
18, I think it's what, 18, about an 1,800 feet.
1,800,
yeah,
It's gonna be an
yeah.
elevated walkway, right?
Right, it's gonna be over the wetlands.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It'll be a platform, probably 10 or 12 feet wide. But for those that have been on the airline trail, you go to the end, you get to a dead end, and you'll see a little stream there. That's the stream that needs to be done. It's Eversource property along there. So
Just be thankful it's not like that old viaduct from the 1880s. You ever see pictures of that on the
Yes.
airline?
It's kind of
Oh my
amazing, isn't it? Yes. So it's only, I think it's only a $2 million problem that they had to solve, right? So,
It's a lot of, I was surprised. to
I was
see the price
surprised.
tag on that.
yeah, what was that?
For
$1 million, 2.1 or
Yeah,
something?
it was over 2 million.
It was a lot of money. So yeah, so that's exciting. So it gives us a year between now and next year for us to get that done. And I think with the plans and with what Joe and that team is doing, I think it's going to help us out, but it gets us lined up. And I really don't think it's going to be an issue with Dan. Dan Lally had already, when he looked at the plans, agreed to that. Also, Michael at DQ also had said he felt good about that. So that wasn't the problem before. They would have been good with that. It was at the Eversource and, being on their property was the concern. So I think with everything moving on at the momentum of the project, I don't believe Eversource wants to stand in the way of that. And I think they'll be accommodating. based on what I've heard from Eversource folks I spoke to. So, so I'm really happy about that. So wanted to get that right up the top.
And I
So-
just want to say you had the piece on Facebook. I want to thank Christie
Oh,
and
yeah.
our state legislators for getting us the funding.
Yes, that's right. That had since our last meeting. So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, we applied for maybe 4 months ago, probably the beginning of when it came in here, for round 2 of the project pass on High Street. It
That'll
was $1
be the
million
sewer
grant.
from Rufflet entrance of High Street down to William.
Down to, yes.
Yes.
So, and we needed to match you, and in fact, this board,
We did 200,000.
yeah, this
Right.
board was thoughtful enough to say that 200,000 was worth putting into it. I looked at all of the $30 million that was issued out for that steep grant, and we had the most money for the least amount that we gave. So we gave 200,000, we got $1 million. Everyone else was either they had to get 3, 4, 500,000, or they got a lot less money as a ratio. And the reason that they did that, from what I was told by Norm and Christie, was because it was part 2 of a project that was needed. It was on a street where we have the schools there. So it was well deserved of that. So it bodes well for phase 3. Once this is done, there's additional projects that we can do. So for the next steep grant that's offered, by the time we get this done, which probably will not be until next school year, the summer of next year, for this particular one, with all the engineering has to get done. It'll fit nicely in with all the other projects as they wind down. This will jump in. So yeah, so good news. So that is good. $1 million. Listen, the town pays a lot of taxes to the state, as do residents. So it's nice to see some of that money come back and go do a good purpose. So
Nice to see it come back.
nice to see it come back. Exactly. So, anyway, so that's all I have. Any public comment at this time? Anyone want anything to say? Going once? Anything online? Very, very good. Okay. So I see Tom is not here. Now, I had told Tom that I was hoping at this meeting to pass out our May numbers so that we can look at it more carefully. And then at the next meeting, we'd be able to assess and ask some more questions. I know that's been the feeling of the board before, where we've gotten it, and then 30 seconds later, we're looking at the numbers. And I think it's a quick time to digest it. The questions have always been good. It's all up to the same type of things, but I think digesting and looking at it might be a better idea. So I'm hoping when I left, he was getting the numbers, printing it out. There's some issues with the system. So if he does make it tonight, I'll have him pass it all out. He'll be available for questions. If he does not make it tonight for any reason, I will get those numbers to you. Please review that. And then the next meeting that we have, we'll review that and go over that. And if anyone has questions in the meantime, you're welcome to reach out to Tom directly or myself directly. So I want to make sure everyone gets the information, and then we'll review those questions if you do it directly at the next meeting, so that everyone that's watching or paying attention will know as well. So I want to make it as transparent as possible. So, all right, and I see that he's not here yet, so let's go on to the next one. We have a resolution to award a contract. We recently selected this contractor, FHI, to be the group that will look at our brownfield area remediation area and figure out what the best uses of that property are. We're ready to award that. We've finally negotiated all the details, and if I could have someone read that and move that
Sure,
forward, that would be great.
Move the resolution for the Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, June 4th, 2025, contract agreement with Fitzgerald and Halliday, Inc.
Yes.
Bar Planning Grant. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes First Selectman Michael Pelton to execute and deliver in the name of and on behalf of the Town of Portland a contract with Fitzgerald and Halliday, Inc., doing business as FHI Studio, a wholly owned subsidiary of IMEG Consultants Corporation of 416 Asylum Street, Hartford, Connecticut, 06103, for bid number 2025-05- BAR Planning Grant, Downtown Portland Master Plan. The total base bid contract prior to any other required change orders is approximately $220,000. This bid is being funded by the Department of Economic and Community Development with a match from the Town of Portland.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second, all right, discussion. Does everyone know the details of this grant? What we got, when we got it, what it's been? For anyone that may not know, we received $200,000 as a grant to do this. The town put in $20,000. They're going to be looking at best uses for our riverfront property as well as the Tilcon project that we have as well. Looking at what's the best use, what else do we need to do with that? You know about. So I think it's good. We vetted the various groups that bid on this. I believe we had 7 groups that did it. FHI was the one that impressed us the most. It seemed like they would get the message out there. So I feel really good about it. So without further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions?
I'll think I have no idea what we're talking about.
Good call. All right,
Should have
motion passes.
Bobby abstain.
It's for the FHI, the bar grant.
I
$200,000.
voted for it.
So it should be the first one in the green paper, green. It's a remediate, so we got it green, right? The goal to make the brown green, so. All right, next one, we have supplemental appropriations. We do this, usually at this time of year. If there are accounts that either have been hit harder, because of different topics, and we're able to use funds that there are excesses in order to fill up. So we had a couple accounts that justified this. Now, this money, the $96,250 is spread out over 5 different accounts. Each account has a specific reason why funds were either used additionally. All of this money that we're using to transfer comes from an over income on the structure permits that we had. So it's coming from revenue that the town generated in excess of what we thought it would be. So I want to say washes, but it's where it goes. And we try to do that as you know, with Tom. He wants to make sure that everything's clean and we're all set when we get to the end of our fiscal year. So everyone's read this.
You need me to move this resolution?
Yeah, whoever wants to do
I'll
that.
take it. And then we got to set up the public hearing for this, right?
Yes.
Okay, I move the resolution Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, June 4th, 2025. Supplemental appropriation, various general fund expenditure line items and increases into estimated structural permits. Whereas the building department has had staff out on medical leave this fiscal year, necessitating the recruitment of part-time temporary staff to cover important functions of the building department. And whereas approximately $32,500 increase in appropriation to 01-025-000-11003 building department part-time payroll is needed, as no funds are budgeted initially for this line item. And whereas the town has had additional legal proceedings in the land use department and more land use projects this year than expected that have caused legal fees to be higher than budgeted. And whereas the planning and development matters account number 01-014-000-37019 is currently budgeted at $24,500, needs an increase in appropriation by $34,000 to total $58,500. And whereas general town council services were also used at a higher rate with the various projects and other matters that have arisen this year, including the mid-year change in first selectman. And whereas general town council services account number 01-014-000-37013 is currently budgeted at $22,500, needs an increase in appropriation by $7,500 to total $30,000. And whereas the town has had some miscellaneous engineering projects come up and or continue during the fiscal year, and whereas miscellaneous engineering account number 01-034-000-38010 is currently budgeted at $2,500, needs an increase in appropriation by $17,750 to total $20,250. And whereas general services within the town engineering budget, account number 01-034-000-38007 is currently budgeted at $1,000, needs an increase in appropriation by $4,500 to total $5,500. And whereas revenues and line items 01-000-000-00328 structural permits exceeds the original budgeted due to higher large dollar permits coming in fiscal year 2025, the estimated revenues can be increased by an additional $96,250. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the following supplemental appropriations in the below listed line items funded through an estimated increase of the revenue in line item number 01-000-000 00328 structural permits of $96,250, broken down as follows. 01-025-000-11003, part-time payroll, $32,500. 01-014-000-37019, planning and development matters, $34,000. 01-014-000-37013, general town council for services, $7,500. 01-034-000-38010, miscellaneous engineering, $17,750. And 01-034-000-38007, general services for $4,500, totaling $96,250.
I'll second that.
All right. Fun reading that, isn't it? Did it with one breath.
One brain.
Nice job, John.
Any questions on this? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but, all right, very good. Ready for the vote?
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Oh, and before we go on, we also need to set a public hearing, as well as the special town meeting. So the June 18th selectmen meeting, I need to cancel that. I won't be in town, and I know, Mike, as deputy first selectman, won't be able to make that as well. So we're canceling that meeting, but that same night, though, we want to schedule the public hearing and special meeting for both these provisions. So there will not be a selectmen meeting that night, but for those that can make it, I know, Michael, you may not be able to, but hopefully the rest of us can get there. But that's why we're setting that for that night.
In this same location?
In the same location, correct. I'm looking to, ideally, the next selectmen meeting will be on the 25th, the last Wednesday of the month. That's normally when we can do any kind of adjustments we need to, or any end of the month budget transfers, as well as anything else, any other business. So if we're all set, we don't have anything that we need to do, we could cancel that one as well, but I'm keeping that as a placeholder for our next meeting, depending on what we need to do, for end of the fiscal year stuff. So yeah, if someone could set the public hearing and the special town meeting for that particular.
I'll do it. I make a motion, we set the public hearing for this regarding the supplemental appropriation, general fund expenditure line items and increases to estimated structural permits for June 18th, 2025 at 6:30 PM with a special town meeting at 6:40 PM.
No, second.
All right, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next appropriation, similar, we're using gov deal sale to fund this. So the $200,000 that we're allocating are for revenue that we were able to produce, based on our gov deal sales. So we got equipment that's older, everyone knows what that is. We're able to sell it, we take that money and we could use it and invest it in some new equipment or things that maybe we weren't able to put in capital budget that we could add. So this one, we have 4 different things. We have a replacement pickup, we have a cruiser replacement, air packs, as well as the purchase of 2 containers.
These happen to be everything that we budgeted for in the last budget, right?
I can give this one a
It-
shot.
it
I might
looks
not
like-
pass out through it.
There you go.
It's short enough.
There you go. All right. You gonna give it?
This is all additional for this year's budget, not next year's budget.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
for
what
this
we,
year,
what we
this-
just voted on.
Coming out
This was
of
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This year's money.
this year's, yeah, this is just this year's money. Yes.
Right.
Yep. So
You
who
know,
wants to read? Oh, yeah. If you volunteered, you got it.
Well, it's a little bit shorter than the other one, so. I make a motion that we adopt the resolution dated June 4, 2025, titled authorization to use capital non-recurring fund balance to purchase highway pickup truck, police equipped cruisers, fire, MSA, SCBA, air packs, and resource recovery containers. Whereas the highway division is in need of purchasing a new frontline F-350 pickup with a utility body, said cost of such equipment is expected to be $88,500. And whereas the police department is in need to replace vehicles and update their fleet, additional multiple other cars in the town's fleet have gone past their useful life, requiring removal from use. Those vehicles are replaced by police vehicles that are passed down. The cost of such equipped cruisers is $61,500. Whereas the fire department is in need of additional SCBA air packs with an estimated cost of $20,000. And whereas the Resource Recovery Department is in need of replacement containers, as the current containers have gone past their useful life, the cost of such equipment is expected to be $30,000. And whereas the town has used the GovDeals website to sell various assets that are no longer useful to the town, and the revenues received from the sales are recorded in Fund 8. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the supplemental appropriations from capital non-recurring fund balance in the amount of $200,000 and authorizes the funds to be added/increased in the following accounts. Account 08-141-000-89090, Highway Division/Vehicle Maintenance, replace pickups in the amount of $88,500. Account 08-141-000-89080, Police Department equipped cruiser replacement, $61,500. Account 08-141-000-89040, Fire Department MSA SCBA air packs in the amount of $20,000. And account 08-141-000-89100, Resource Recovery Department purchase compactors containers in the amount of $30,000, totaling $200,000.
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a couple of problems with this, is just that, none of this was mentioned in this year's budget. And all of a sudden now it's being brought up. I know it's from the government auction money. I know it's $200,000, but I don't know who came up with, who got this list of repairs and replacements. I just wish that the Board of Selectmen had a list first to be able to look at it. I think it should be A, B, C, D, not tell us what it is. Like, for example, the library roof has a big leak in it, right? There's a leak in the roof. Maybe we should take care of that. Like, that's kind of important. The containers might not be as important. I just wish we had something to choose from other than tell us what we should do.
Priority list.
Yeah, and no, we just talked about the pavement of the high school with the parking lot. They may need $50,000. Like, this is all stuff that we were talking about in meetings, but we never get to bring it to the table. All of a sudden, we're just being told what's at the table. So I kind of have a problem with that. I just wish we had like A through Z, and then we got to discuss it as a board of what we felt needed to be repaired or replaced. Yeah, that's what my only problem with this.
No,
whole thing.
I understand that. I think all of these particular ones were based on the needs either for Michael and Highway or the other departments, resource recovery that were essential. But I understand that though. I think, and there's probably another 24 things that we could probably add to this list to prioritize. So, I think that's a good point. But just be aware that we looked at it and based it on the need that we felt was a priority based on the feedback from, again, the supervisor for the department heads. And based on the money that was, now, I don't know specifically when each of the government deal dollars came in, but I know it accumulated and we're able to use that much funds for it. So
How many cruisers did we approve for next year's budget?
Two.
Two?
two, I believe, yeah.
That was my understanding, right?
And how many containers is this for the dump?
Should be 2 containers.
2 containers?
Containers, yes. I was down there 2 days ago and much needed. The one you've been down, but the one that they have, what they have down there right now is inadequate. So that's a big need.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat, like Mike was just saying, like, I'm 100% for the SCBA air packs for the fire department, but I don't know what other priorities we have for spending on stuff in town. Like,
Tom?
Oh,
Can I
yeah,
say
Tom, go
something
on.
to that?
There you go.
But my, I say, what you're saying too, yeah, because a lot of the stuff was stuff that was in the budget that we just approved. We certainly talked about those pieces.
So these are, for years, we've been working through the gov deals list, work with all the departments, bring in many of thousands of dollars, work with vehicle maintenance, work with highway, work with resource recovery, work with the police department, work with the Board of Education. Me and myself, Bill, and a couple of us, Nick, and a lot of the guys in the departments work together to run this auction process and really generate some really good revenues. A lot of these items were on the list of items that were in the item that were items that were coming to you from the first selectman's budget that had to be removed. These were also items that I was trying to come up with a plan that wouldn't hit tax dollars and would utilize some of the things that we had sold and then put them back into what they do. We generally don't do outside like roof repairs and things with this funds. We try to take things off that are troubling. So the current time you have the public works director vehicle has been removed from service. A Crown Victoria has been removed for service. That was the senior center vehicle. One of the vehicle that was a Crown Vic was stolen and destroyed. And then there's another vehicle. So you have 3 vehicles that were in the blocks that are gone now. So we have these holes where people are driving their personal vehicles. 2 of the vehicles were going to come in from the budget, and then this was an opportunity to get another vehicle as these vehicles just keep getting higher and higher in cost. So that will replace 3 frontline vehicles for police. We'll switch the older vehicles into the platform so that the public works department can roll those out to the vehicles. The containers have been failing for numerous years. They're unrepairable. They're leaking. It's not a very good site. So those need to be replaced immediately. The air packs that was a cut out from the budget cycle. Those were they need at least one for a training, and then others for that. Usually the air packs are always a good thing for fire, for safety. And public works vehicles just continue to keep getting higher and higher in cost. So we've sold a lot of vehicles through the auction process, and thought this was a good opportunity to get one of those high dollar value older trucks. I think we're talking circa 2011 truck frontline vehicle, and get that replaced. So just trying to take advantage of the monies that are there from all the hard work and the gov deals, going off the capital plan that has been in the budget, working off through that, trying to work with as many people. Right now, I'm a public works director, trying to do as best as we can, working through this process with all the various departments. So that's what we've done on that, trying to help out the process flow structure. Thank you.
Tom, what would our balance be after this is approved?
About $23,000.
Do we have much more equipment that'll be going to auction in the future?
So we normally try to keep around a $50,000 flow. So we got about 30,000 we sold already. So that'll roll back in. You want to have a fund balance in there in case there's somehow, through the authorization process, a delay in grant activity, there is some flow activity. So we generally try to keep that ballpark of that 50 range. We are starting to do a few more, but I mean, the dollar values haven't been significant that we've come in with. So we got to see, sometimes you win, you score. And that's why one of the ones, the resource recovery, they had sold a few big items and brought in some decent money. So we just, what we try to do is give back to those departments that really participate in there and help get the assets sold, so that we can get replacements. Because resource recovery is one of those tricky ones where it doesn't really make money. It's a big transfer in. We don't really want to transfer more in from the general fund. So we do our best to try to not do that. So sometimes you'll hit it through a lease. Sometimes you'll hit it here. So I think they sold it at the roll off, and one of their other vehicles that was that they were using out there, like it was a heavy piece of equipment. So I just, we thought that we needed those, hadn't hit them for 3 to 4 years now. One of them we did get was like maybe not the right size, so we use it for other things. But we went back to the size that's the appropriate size to haul. So that'll be a better situation for us on that.
between excess funds and what's budgeted,
Hmm.
do you see us being able to afford that 50,000 to do the parking lot at the high school in the next, before the fall? We had a I don't think you were here, we had a presentation from Public Works and from their vendor about sealing the parking lot and staying ahead of the cracks, so we don't end up paying, hundreds of thousands or over $1 million to replace the lot and to seal it now. He said roughly it would be
Yeah, I
50,000.
don't have to look into that research. That's some, I mean, that would not be something that we would usually utilize the gov deals funds for.
Mhm.
Because you can't sell a parking lot, you know what I mean? So generally, we try to put back in there. We did use it one time to do the tennis courts a few years back, which was that process that this guy kind of explained, which was horribly unsuccessful. So I don't know how that would work on the parking lots. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tom?
No, I mean, I do agree. We want to look at, we really do need to evaluate how we move forward with the parking lot. Yeah.
That's we can't wait till next year, because it's only gonna get worse over the winter.
So I think this might be something for our special meeting on June 25th. Get everything together, so we can discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with, I mean, these are real needs. I'm comfortable with that, but I do think we've got to make sure we're looking for how we fund.
Well, and to both of your points, all three of your points, I get that, because we have so many needs that we have, like prioritizing being involved in that. That's great. I want you guys to be as involved as possible. These ones, I feel comfortable just because of the needs, and, Tom and I and the others have put a lot of effort, because we knew these were needs that we couldn't afford before, but we happen to do it. The rationale behind it makes perfect sense to me. So, but I think as we get additional dollars, or as something else comes up, I'll make sure to include everyone in for feedback, and you guys can take a look at it as well. So I think that's good. So, well, I don't know.
From what Tom said, it sounds like the conversation is had with a number of people.
yeah,
Maybe
there-
at the point where that conversation is initiated, you can just let this board know that the conversation's gonna begin.
Well,
And we can work with it.
it's tough because I'm not saying that they don't have good judgment,
Right.
but people see us up here saying yes or no to spend the money.
Right.
And we're held accountable for how the money is spent.
Absolutely.
So if there's 10 things the town needs, we just want to make sure that it's what we all think should be what the money is spent on.
And we may
I
also
understand.
have feedback that we want to give in terms of, to make sure that something's at least in the conversation.
Yeah.
Can I just, and something Tom said, I just want to clarify and make sure that I understand and we understand. Tom, did you say that what you try to expend funds on with these resource recovery sales funds are other items that are potentially saleable at the end of their life? Did I understand you say that?
Yeah, I mean, what we've been trying to do on this is we know we have a massive capital list. And there's a lot of inclusive equipment. A lot of people put a lot of effort into work through to sell these items to, make it a successful event. So we try to, all the various departments that assist in that, we try to buy things that are are items that are really needed that would do that. Yeah, we don't, it's not usually like other things that can't be sold. Very rarely is that.
That helps me limit the scope of the things we're thinking about.
Yeah, because all of these departments have equity that we sell, police
Right,
cars,
right.
fire trucks. So the money is going back to them to purchase
right.
more equipment.
Right.
So I understand that side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can be involved in the process next time this comes around.
Absolutely. I think that's fair. 100%.
Right.
Tom, thank you very much. All right, given that you understand the history of these numbers, I'll make sure that as we go forward, as we get funds available through this program, and we have other things, I think we also need to take a look at that. So, all right. We ready for the vote? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate the feedback too. All right,
We also,
what's that?
we need-
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. So we need to set the,
yeah,
I'll
so
make a motion. We set a public hearing for 6:35 PM You want it together with the other one or
We
separate?
can do it together, yeah.
And a special town meeting, 6:50 PM on June 18th, 2025. Here in the Buck Foreman room.
I'll second it.
Yeah, Jim seconds. Right, looking discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And for that meeting on the 25th of June, that, you know, that potential special meeting at 7 o'clock, I think this ought to be one of the discussions that night. And,
I will be
and as well as the parking lot.
I will be here either on the
Okay.
25th.
All right, yep, good. All right, we'll figure that out. Okay. 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 No problem. Thank you, Tom. All right, so, Bob, I don't think it's in yours, but we added 10A, which is the waiver for bid requirements for Scranton Communications. It's the blue one. All right. The deal behind this is we've used Scranton Communications and Electronics to do a lot of the equipping of our fire as well as police vehicles. If you buy a complete vehicle from, say, one of the car companies, all the equipment that they put in there is usually overpriced. So Scranton often will add for the last 20 years now, Tom, probably before he's been here. So based on that, it is worthy of a bid waiver. It allows us to get more equipment for less money with the same for less. So I think it makes sense. If everyone's read that.
Yeah. I move we approve the resolution. Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, June 4th, 2025, request for waiver of bid requirements, Scranton Communications and Electronics LLC, whereas the Town of Portland will be purchasing multiple vehicles through the end of the fiscal year 2026, and whereas the equipment for departments such as police, fire, public works, Board of Education and grounds may need to be outfitted with communications, emergency lighting, and various miscellaneous items, and whereas Scranton Communications and Electronics LLC will provide this service and equipment, and whereas Scranton Communications and Electronics LLC of Middle Haddam, Connecticut has been a longtime vendor and service provider to the town and has provided excellent service at a reasonable cost for police, fire, grounds, and public works. Now therefore be it resolved that in the best interest of the town pursuant to section 1208, section 7 of the Portland Charter, the Board of Selectmen hereby waives the bidding requirements of section 1208 of the Portland Charter as it pertains to the utilizing Scranton Communications and Electronics LLC as the vendor to outfit and install electronic and communications equipment for police, fire, public works, Board of Education, and grounds vehicles as needed. In addition, the Board of Selectmen authorizes First Selectman Michael A. Pelton to act on behalf of the Town of Portland and enter into any and all agreements.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're halfway through, maybe even quicker. Next agenda item number 11, revision of library loan policy. Tim attended one of the meetings with Jen, and they discussed that, and Jen's here to explain what they are, and Tim's here to support that, some information he has.
Thank God.
Hi, Jennifer Billingsley, Portland Public Library Director. So I believe in your packet you have a redlined copy. I don't know if it's in color, so the red part,
It
oh,
is.
yay, fancy. Oh, very nice. So I'm gonna briefly go over the changes and, but before I get into that, this policy, it was revised, it was approved by this board, so I'm bringing it before you again. I'm not entirely sure why it was. In this instance, we think maybe because it has to do with fines and fees as a part of the loan policy, which would be impacting budgets. That's why it was brought before this body to begin with. But I don't want to break protocol. I want the same people to approve the policy. So on page 1, the original wording is fines are assessed only for late returns of special items such as museum passes, equipment, or technology, etc., in accord with the schedule published on the library website and available upon request. So we removed "and for books from the Zoom collection" because that's outdated wording. That's not what they're called anymore. This is a pre-COVID document. And we changed the wording very slightly to create space for the new Library of Things policy and procedures, because that deals with equipment. We're hoping that will grow in the future. So that change in that wording creates space for that to occur without having to bring, like if I add a metal detector, I won't have to come to you, the et cetera will cover a late fee for the metal detector if we decide that it's reasonable to create one for it. Again, on page 1, so the highlighted date that's highlighted in there, it was more clerical. That's the last time that amount of fees that blocks a patron from using their card because they owe too much money, that's decided at a consortium level. So that's when that was last decided. I just had that in there to make sure that we were that I was on the same page, and that didn't need to get updated. On page 2. So this is so I'm going to read the original wording, the revised wording, and then explain why. The old wording was, if an item is no longer available for purchase and therefore no current price can be located, the patron will be charged a default price established in that type of material for that type of material as posted in the materials replacement list. The proposed new wording is, if an item is out of print and or no purchase price can be located in the integrated library system, ILS, the patron will be charged a default price for that type of material as listed in the materials replacement list. The original intent of this policy was to charge people a fair replacement fee, but as written, it means that if for some reason Where the Wild Things Are goes out of print, which I don't think it ever will be, but if at some point it goes out of print and some kid checks it out and drops it in a puddle, if we could find a listed price for that on eBay that's thousands of dollars, we would have to charge them that replacement fee. And this way we would just say, oh no, we looked it up in the database, that cost $19.99 when we bought it. You will pay us $19.99 and you will not have to replace this book. So that's we workshopped that wording to make more sense. And then on page 3, we just added language clarifying that we would follow the same replacement rules for damaged items as we would for lost ones. It just refers back up to the same rules, that we're treating them the same. If the material is no longer in shape to circulate among the public, that would be like, it would just trigger the same process. It was just kind of ambiguous before. I figured I'd tighten it up and clarify. Any questions? I talked really fast. I may have over caffeinated to get to 8 p.m.
You've been very happy.
Anytime.
No, they all make perfect sense.
Lovely.
And thank you for rocking it down there too, by the way. Are your numbers up this month again?
I
In
think
terms
so.
of,
We'll find out. Yes, we think so. Everybody's gets the library board meeting is a week earlier this year, and so it'll probably be a double report in July that everybody will get for final stats numbers, because my staff were like, wait, we have to get everything to you a week early, and I was like, no, it's fine. So I bet we have, though.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Very good.
So do you need a vote from us on this or just?
Yes, please.
I motion that we approve the new library policy as presented tonight.
I'll
Library
second.
loan policy.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Right, looks like it's a go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, you are very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on here, review, discuss POS charter revisions and establish a charter revision commission. I'm not prepared to do that. I was going to pull that off the agenda, but instead I wanted to at least start the discussion. I know it's been at least 20 years since we had the last revision commission. By state statute, the recommendation is every 10 years. So we've missed that by 10. But we should.
5.
Last we saw was every 10 years.
Oh, our
Is that-
charter says 5.
I was talking about the state,
Oh,
yeah. The
but the
state.
town charter says 5.
Oh, I understand. So it's even been 4 times longer, right? So it's well overdue, right? So we need to think about that. And we need to get that set up, but we need to have more discussion about what the intent is and get details, because that would be a big activity for us. I want to make sure that we're focused on what needs to get done. So let's start the discussion. But again, there's a lot to this. It'll be a big project. So
I'd like to get a summary of what the state requires of us, and, you know, if we're gonna create a commission, I know I had a brief discussion about timelines, once you establish it.
Right.
How quickly you need to, personnel it and get
Yeah,
it up and running. And
I'm reading that right now, and it's, once we vote, we have 30 days to appoint the authority.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it may behoove us to figure out how we post this and get a list of interested parties.
Well,
So we have that when we're ready to go.
Well, and we also have a number of projects going on in town. We have a lot of things. We need to
Yeah.
do that. And this may be something that, and again, it may even wait to the election where we want to see what this board is and what the board's made up. And that may be the board that decides what we're going to do moving forward as well. So we have a lot to discuss and a lot to decide,
Hmm.
a lot of different things to think about, but you're right. So we need to get details as to what the state requires, combine it with our charter and get to it. A lot of work to be done. But I certainly think there can be changes made just based on the last 6 months of meetings, 5 months of meetings, just several topics that have come up that are worthy of looking at the charter and how we deal with things. So,
What has been past practice of this board? And maybe you could do a little research for
Mhm.
our next meeting and show some of the minutes. The last time that this board began the charter revision process to see, what they did, how they went about it.
what I'll do some research on the last maybe 2 times that it was done, what was done, who was involved, how it was done, some of the minute meetings. So I'll prepare that.
Well, the
for-
other piece, beyond, the basics, I'm wondering, we have talked in the past about this body going through that and making recommendations as to what we think needs some focus.
Right.
And I'm just curious how other boards, the last times this has been done, how they approach that.
I think that's a good place to
right,
start.
I think a resolution to create can narrow a focus to what we'd like to see. Now, once the charter revision commission starts, they are able to approach
They
it.
go
They,
to work.
Correct.
would expand it, but initially out of the gate, it'd be nice to have a focus.
So you'd like to give them key things to look at.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
not
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
wasted time of,
Right.
they're looking at something that nobody wants changed.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I think it gets back to, we talked a couple meetings ago about everyone, they should be looking at it anyways, kind of making their own notes and stuff. So I think we continue that, highlight the different parts, and then maybe on one of the meetings or in special session, we can look at, review, discuss, toss some ideas back and forth. But I think that's well needed. So agreed.
We need a motion to table this, or how do we?
Let's do that anyways, just it's on the agenda.
You just put it back to follow-up items.
Yeah, we'll put it to be discussed at a future date, future time. I'm not prepared to say which date yet, but to be discussed at a future time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can move it back to the follow-up items for now.
Yeah,
But I think
motion
I think
move
it's
it back.
kind of a point taken. We
Yeah.
should all be looking at it.
Mhm.
We should be looking at the
I
chart.
make a motion, we move it back to follow-up items.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second question, okay. Discussion, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed, abstentions? Excellent. Good, but it's worth looking at. All right, appointments to boards and commissions. Does anyone have on either side?
We just got information on 2.
Right.
So I will put forward Chris Chenier as an alternate on the Inland Wetlands Commission.
I'll second that.
What's the name again?
Chris Chenier,
Spell it.
Chenier.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
Laurel Steinhauser's husband.
Okay,
I believe I know he served on, maybe it was conservation.
I think it was conservation.
okay, excellent. It's good.
And the other one, and we got to vote on that.
Any seconds?
Oh, I second.
Oh, you already seconded, I'm sorry.
I mean, anyone's welcome to if we want to keep it.
I don't want to take it from you.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that.
You're a giver. Any discussion about that?
I think he's a good choice.
He's a good guy. All right, ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Welcome, Chris.
And we have one other for the Ethics Commission, Brian Parker.
Which I will second as well.
Parker.
And Brian is with us tonight.
You're the famous Brian Parker. Huh? Right. Pleasure. Maybe infamous. All right, we have a second. All right, very good. So I make sure. Voice is quiet down there.
I'm sorry.
There you go. I'm not used to that. All right, any discussion at all?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
Thank you, Brian,
Well,
for,
Brian, we
offering
appreciate
and
you stepping up.
coming. Thank you.
Being willing
Can
to
can I ask you, why'd you step up? What was the biggest reason? Actually, you want to come up? I feel like,
I have some mobility issues.
oh, no, then you stay there. We'll bring the attention to you then.
Sure. I want to get involved in my town.
That's great.
And I think it's remarkable that, the acrimony of bipartisanship seems not to have found its way to the town of Portland. I'd like to be some part of maintaining that civility.
I absolutely think that's
Thank you.
fantastic. We need more of that. We need more of that. I think focusing in and focus on what makes Portland a better town is great. And one of the surprises, and I've told the gentleman up here, is that a small town like this runs on volunteers. It runs on people willing to contribute their time and their effort to make it better. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think all of us in this room like Portland and love the town. And so we need more of that. So welcome. You know, and there might be more committees for you to participate in perhaps, right? First one's easy, second one, a little quicker. So, all right.
Hey, one suggestion for this meeting. Turn the air system.
Oh, isn't that-
Oh, you can't hear.
We're actually planning, we are right now planning to move back to the library in the fall. Once we
Yes.
just have to
Courtesy
wait for
of
the
If the
programming
library
clears
lets
out.
us.
Yes.
So,
Yes. If she says it's okay, we're going back there. So
Now I understand.
you were not the only
You
one.
situated the revision of her policy origin, but.
She is very good at using leverage. Very Machiavellian, 100%.
no, as soon as that comes on, it's very hard to.
Yes, it is. It is. So, yeah, you're not alone in that. Yeah. I said, you're not alone in that. All right. Do we have any other appointments, boards or commissions?
None here.
By the way, I like the way that Michelle just listed the ones that were open.
Yeah.
Made it
Yes.
simple.
Yeah, no, this is a really helpful
Thanks.
document.
I thought it was very helpful to do so.
I usually been doing that myself on a scratch pad.
Yeah, I should actually
Yeah.
leave one of these over for you also that has the list of actual ones that are open, so. All right, just one, refunds of excess payments.
I'll make a motion for a refund of excess payment for George F. Sheehan Jr. for $26.03.
I'll second that.
Oh, no, you got it. So,
I got it. Right. Seconded by Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. All right, status reports. Start to my left.
Yeah, I'm just looking for my notes.
was gonna say, I have two quick ones. You're gonna
Okay.
go longer, so I'm gonna,
Oh, less than a minute.
yeah, this is just real quick. The meeting for Parks and Rec and Water and Sewer isn't
Pass
until
those out.
next
Thank you.
week. But the couple of quick updates of note, were initially planning to do the pump down test starting this week. My assumption is, I don't think we know exactly why, Mike. I don't think, at least I haven't heard exactly why,
Right.
but that's been pushed now till starting on Monday.
Yes.
The pump down test of the new well, so
Yes.
hopefully we'll get more information there. And then the other item is Co-Ave. That work is starting to progress now. So that they finally got that where it's moving. And I actually was down, we were at the Riverfront Park just last week, and the bypass and all that was in place for them to do that work. So
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, it looks like I talked to Rich today. And he said it should be middle of next week that the test is gonna happen. He also said at the site to see, I think it's gonna be 900 gallons per second that may be able to come out of that well. So when they do the pump test, it said it's quite impressive.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a high level, high volume. I'll let everyone know when that is, but it's worth going.
was it, did they have to push it back because the water levels went back up again? I know with all the heavy rain that the river's back up. Or was it just they just weren't ready or needed to get equipment?
It was a
know what?
combination. It was a combination of the
Okay.
two. And they felt that the middle of the week was probably better. But I should, he may have the exact. But I'll pass it on to everyone, but that's worth going to. So it'll be quite a spectacle.
It's a 48-hour too, if I recall,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I went to Board of Ed meeting last evening, and it actually, there was a large portion of old business went to executive session, so I wasn't there. But there were a few retirees that were given kudos and thank yous last night. Mrs. Beth McCormick is retiring. She's been in Portland for 37 years as a teacher. Ms. Joanne Chiquette, Spanish teacher, she's retiring. She came from a couple other schools to teach Spanish here in 2015. And Tricia Allen, the art teacher, has been in Portland since 2004. We wish them all well. They're all retiring. As part of the superintendent's report, they gave the final enrollment report for the year. They started at 216 students and were pretty solid and consistent. Ended the year at 1,216 students, ended the year at 1,210. So I'd say that's solid. And then there were just two reminders / updates. Juneteenth celebration, which is at the secondary schools, is on June 14th. And graduation is June 13th. And they urged everybody we got our invites.
Invitations.
Yeah.
To that.
Starts at 6 p.m., but they urge everybody to get there about 5:30. You want parking place.
That's. Anyone else want to volunteer for project graduation with me?
Yeah.
That is a hard no. I talked Mary into doing it again, so, and Dave Rugger. So we did one more. Yeah,
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Project, doing it.
absolutely. All right, pick this up. All right, you'll notice Tom passed out, the May numbers. So what I would ask everyone to do, if you have any specific questions now, Tom's here, but review the numbers in detail. And then at our next meeting, that would be the time I would ask specific ones, or in the meantime, between now and then, if you have specific ones, reach out to Tom, reach out to me, and we'll try to get you answers, but take a look at the numbers and review that. I think that's probably the better way of doing it, that we guys get to digest it instead of quick hit and then go, so. But that's that. I don't have many additional things. You already talked about Juneteenth. I have a couple events coming up that might be interesting. I know this weekend, we're doing our second annual Highlander Hustle. So that's going to be a fundraiser for the track team. That'll be Saturday at noontime to Sunday at noontime. So I know last year you gentlemen weren't able to make it down there because of previous commitments. So hopefully you guys will be down there to run a couple laps around the track. At any time, we're doing a 5K race at sunset on Saturday night. So if that's something that would be better for you, John, that would be fantastic.
How about walk?
Walking
Can
is
you walk?
encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jen has said that she could do it the whole 24 hours, but she doesn't want to show off. So I think that's pretty good. So anyways, but it's a good cause. The one running it this year is Jen, whose track team got second place in the state, which is fantastic. So shout out to Jen, shout out to all the coaches. Portland track.
Mike, if people make donations, who do they make a check out to?
It goes to the Portland Sideliners.
Okay.
They're the ones accepting it like they did last year. They're happy to do it. So just send it to them. They just have to tag a note for the Highlander Hustle. So we're keeping it nice and simple, but again, hats off to the track, as having been a coach for the last 7-8 years. I've seen the program grow, both middle school, high school. It's the highest participation event of any sport in Portland. And it's got bigger teams. The athletes are fantastic. Sam Lamalfa, I believe, has a couple state records.
Yeah.
Certainly town records. But he just is ripping it up. He competed at one event about a month and a half ago with an Olympic athlete, one of those high school kids that was running like 45 for a 400, which is kind of amazing. So it's great to see. But anyways, exciting. So good job. And it all started when the track got made. When you track it, the kid got faster, and parents got to see the kids. So I thought that was a great thing. So that is coming up this weekend. Next weekend, you guys know about graduation. That's going to be great. Juneteenth as well on the 14th. Youth and Family Services is doing a summer kickoff on Wednesday, June 18th from 4 to 7. It's another big event. It will be behind the Buck Mormon building. There will be petting zoos and ice cream. How could you say no to petting zoos and ice cream? So that'll be and face
Be a lot of
painting.
rabbits covered with ice cream.
A lot of rabbits covered. It could be dangerous. Face painting, books, etc. So it's a fun event. Great way to kick off the summer. They do a nice job of that. So that is great. And only other thing I have is looks like our senior center is doing a wellness fair on June 24th from 10 to 2. Obviously, this will all be posted on our website as well. But a shout out to her down there. Sarah's done a great job. I'm really getting full use out of the senior center. She does a great deal of social work down there, not intentionally, but by default, because she has so many people using that for different activities, with what she does with the ride share, et cetera, the kitchen. So a shout out to all the good things happening down there. They do a lot down there for the town, and as Jen, as you do at the library. So it's great to see, as youth services does. You guys are kind of the contact with most of the residents in town. So keep on doing what you're doing. We love it. And that is all I have. What do we have for a
I can
time?
just do one quick one.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I got it. We haven't met since the parade. And I just I wanna thank everybody who, for one, gives something, helps with something, provides something to the parade. I've been on a very loosely involved member of the parade association for probably 30 years. But I personally know what Sarah Rudder puts into that every year. She just makes that parade happen, and I just want to thank her for all her time, and kudos to Sarah. She does a lot of hard work.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'll third and fourth.
Yeah,
that.
Sarah really pulled it off.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the town's been helping with that, but the participation and the amount of work that goes behind that.
All the behind the scenes stuff is in.
And it's a family affair. I mean, she's got Dave running around and the Stevie's running around, the kids running around. I mean, it is crazy. And they always put heart and soul into that. They do everything they can for veterans. And John, you're the new guy, you're the new MC for the next 30 years. You are the new Dave
Thanks.
K. So need to tell you that, but you've earned that title though. Very well done.
Oh, my God.
So, anyways, but, that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything else that they want to announce or put out to the town? All right, I think we are done for the night. Wait, was our time?
There's
Public
public
comment.
comment.
Public comment.
I just want to make sure it's 8:10.
got
A public comment.
Mike, public comment.
I know we got more things. I'm just excited.
We'll go after public comment then.
There you go. Public comment. Anyone else has anything else? Public comment online?
Nope.
Any public comment that you'd like to say? No.
Just one quick comment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I would wonder whether there isn't provision, Michael's point made earlier with respect to the supplemental budget, whether there isn't a provision already in town charter around sale of town equipment. And if not, then, or if it's vague in a way that could solve Michael's concern that maybe that's part of the, of what gets addressed in the town charter.
Andrew, would you mind doing me a favor? Would you mind coming up for a second and just repeat what he said? Because it, yeah, just so that, because no one could hear him.
I think it's a good idea.
That's how you realize it.
We're about to find out. If you could repeat that. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm just,
That's, we can turn off the lights.
that way, well,
There you go. Sorry, Andrew.
thank you.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, spread it, Dina.
No. I wish we had more feedback from.
I'll make a statement of irony. It's really impressive you guys did this so efficiently. Now I'm going to extend the meeting by just a minute or two, but Michael made a point to the effect of having some concern over the allocation of supplemental budget, I think was the category. And I wondered if there wasn't provisions in the town charter that would specify what happens to those dollars. And if not, because the charter is about to be looked at, that maybe what happened tonight could be formalized in the charter or somehow amended to reflect those concerns.
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
And it's this kind of thing that I think we'll need more over the next couple weeks or months as we look at it and see efficiencies, check out other towns and see what they do, what we should avoid. So yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
We really appreciate that. All right, so that public comment was fantastic. Board of Selectmen, general informal discussion.
You had one down there.
My only thing is on follow-up items.
Yes,
What do we need to discuss about the ethics ordinance? That's been on there for almost 4 years now since I've.
that's right. It has been around for 1,000 days.
Yes.
plus. Yes. There was, if I recall correctly, back then, there was a discussion that it needed to be reviewed, and examined. We could probably add that to the charter where we'll take a look at that individually and see if there's anything that stands out. I know Jim Motes, who's currently, on there, I believe he's resigned or resigning soon in case he decides to run. I could ask him also to maybe come here and present maybe some of his ideas and, you know, what maybe the thinking he has on it as well. So, I think that's what I was looking at. So if you check it off the box.
Yeah.
Or if it's fine, we leave it and take it off the item. So, what I'll do is
Maybe you
Talk
can
to
do
him.
what you did with the other item, is move it up to,
Yeah.
move it up into the agenda for a future meeting. Ask Jim if he would be willing to come and speak to
I
it.
think
These
that
are
would be
good
great.
things we've always talked about doing in the summer, because our
Right.
summer months are always
Usually
light.
lower,
Yeah.
right?
So this and the charter, this is the perfect time for us to discuss it.
Right.
All right, very good. I'll talk to him. That's a good idea. Because, yeah, things that just stay there for years probably.
Yeah.
Either aren't urgent or need to be looked at, so. All right, so we're done with the formal discussion, follow-up items, that's great. I think we're almost ready to adjourn. Anything else?
Good.
All right, someone make a motion.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
The Tim and John show.
Tim.
All right,
Tim.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are.